Good morning. Welcome, everyone. My name is Reverend Janet Nohavik. I'm pastor of the Journey Within in Pompton Lakes, New Jersey, coming to you virtually till at least the beginning of April. Well, let me just say, even when we go back to in person, when that happens, we'll be having a Zoom service anyway. So this will continue. It's my honor to have with us Dr. Janet Piedilato. She's a transpersonal psychologist. She's an author and teacher. She's an herbalist. She does dream work and was just telling us about a wonderful book that'll be coming out next year. She has a stunning tarot deck. She's a shaman. There's just too many things to say. So we welcome Dr. Janet Piedilato
wonderful to be here.
To our service. So we'll be welcoming her back in a moment or two. We do begin with spiritual healing. Spiritual healing, if you were at the church, is a laying on of hands in prayer. It's not to be used in place of medical attention. It's to be used in addition to. Our healers are here with us. So if you want to kind of participate, when we go into the quiet music, just focus on your breathing, strengthening your own immune system, and the healers will be sending healing energy to everyone here wanting to participate. If there's someone you would like to request healing for, please put their first name, last initial in the chat box, no last names, including your pets. And particularly we pray this morning for, the hurricane that is heading towards Mississippi, Louisiana, all of those people that are in the path of that, particularly those who help us, those who try and aid people during those challenging times. And this morning as well around the planet with Afghanistan, and are those who are helping to keep us safe as well. So many, 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 many things to pray for this morning. So as we go into a healing prayer, then we'll put on the quiet music. Join us for the healing moments, our gratitude to the healers that are present. If there's anyone during the course of the week, just email or call the church office. We'll get them on the healing list immediately. Reverend Patty will help with that. So, and our gratitude to the healers. So we'll just start with an opening prayer, and then we'll go into a few minutes of quiet healing. Infinite and gracious God, as we come together this morning in community, we offer prayers all around our planet, so many places in distressing times. We pray as well for each of you as you put the names of those you're requesting healing for. I'm going to add my own niece, Sarah, her husband, and the 3-month-old baby, Eloise. They all have COVID. They're coping the best they can with it. So all of your prayers for everyone in the chat box as well. You send healing prayers, healing thoughts. Believe in the power of healing. For all those that we've requested prayers for all of those who have no one to pray for them at the minute, and for all of the names in all of the healing books, regardless of faith, regardless of place, we send healing. Amen. As we come to the end of our healing moments, we're in gratitude to the healers that are present, and gratitude to all of you who've come to make community with us this morning. And we continue to send prayers around our planet this morning. Amen. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to the Journey Within. I'm Reverend Janet Nohavik. Joining us today, our wonderful guest is Dr. Janet Piedilato, and we would ask her to open with prayer.
I ask each and every one of us to close our eyes and go within. O beloved, hidden, mysterious, and eternal one, origin and destination of our soul, come like angels' wings, rise within us that we may feel thy presence. The world is in chaos. There is disease and suffering. There is sorrow and death. Let us see that in the light of your presence, all suffering, all sorrow is transient, part of the physical, but not of the eternal, that we are made from our origin and that we tend to move toward in our final days as we pass to the Amduat. Let us remember that with the pain of labor comes the joy of childbirth. Each and every one of us will suffer transience. In the darkness of night, we must remember that morning will come, the light will shine, and all morning will turn into the brilliant golden light of knowing. Help us, beloved, for it is within us that you rise on angels' wings, to fill us with the knowing of thy presence, that each and every one of us knows that regardless of the world of chaos, we are in the stillness of peace, of the peace of your presence, beloved. Amen.
Thank you, everyone. And I'd like to welcome Dr. Janet for the address.
Well, that song could not have been more perfect. As all the bells ring, it is absolutely perfect. So I thank you for that, because each and every one of us is a pilgrim. And what I'm addressing today is about a very ancient pilgrimage that was made in August and September from the ancient mystery traditions. And it was a putting of a craft upon the water of all the pilgrims, the initiates, that gathered seeking truth. A great scientist, Sir Isaac Newton, once said that truth was the offspring of silence. And when one gathers as a pilgrim to go to a holy place, to go to a sanctuary, one normally goes in silence, seeking something not with the physical eyes that view the world, but with the eyes that see within, that feel that fluttering of the wings within of spirit. In August, the crafts were placed upon the waters, and within Christianity, perhaps not now because of COVID, but the waters all saw the crafts to the Virgin Mary placed upon the waters. Symbolically, it has meaning. And even the great Sir Isaac Newton, who before the age of 20 had developed calculus to drive all of us crazy, whoever had to take it, and try to understand what he understood by the age of 20. He looked toward the great mythologies as having something hidden and little known to many. He was a great alchemist, and he sought in his alchemy to understand transformation. And yes, we can all look at it and say, that was the kind of the beginnings and stirrings of chemistry, how one element is changed into another, how we go from various states of being solid to liquid to gaseous forms. But anyone who looks at those imageries and looks at the notes of Sir Isaac Newton, one of the greatest minds that ever lived, realizes he was looking for the ultimate. He was looking for the primary cause behind everything. And to this purpose, he was very antisocial. He spent his time in silence, and we're told probably studied 18 hours a day to try to understand, to try to come into the presence. And he had a lot of mythology books and a lot of alchemy books to try to understand something that eludes the mind that is rational, the mentation and sensation of just looking in the waking world. So he was a scientist like Einstein, who understood that the physical world held mystery, and that mystery can be encapsulated by the great goddess Ma'at from ancient Egypt. This is a goddess who stood as a female with a feather on her head. Now we can stop at the image and say, is this what we thought, what the Egyptians thought Ma'at, the principle behind all being, looked like? Or does it have some meaning if we go into the depths? The feather is light, it's simple, and it's true. Truth is simple. And that's what it represented. It was that force of beloved that was being represented as something so pure, something so beyond our understanding that it can only be shown by something light. And interestingly enough, each and every one of us, in coming into the presence of that, It was our heart that held our soul and our spirit that came into that contact. Now, if I move forward and go to last century, I can see another brilliant mind, Carl Gustav Jung, great psychiatrist, who was looking like Newton at alchemy and at mythology, looking to find the essence of what our psyche was all about, as though there was some mysterious truth. And I smile because as a pre-med student with my books on chemistry and physics, anatomy and physiology, I always had a brown paper wrapping upon my mythology books. The Golden Bough was with me. And I was embarrassed because I wasn't reading War and Peace, but I loved the myths. I loved the legends. They called to me. And little did I know that all through my life, I would be looking to find memory first in the physiology, in the laboratory, in the molecule of ribonucleic acid, but ended up looking for it as Jung and as Sir Isaac looked for it in alchemy and in the stories of myths, just like you and I as pilgrims of that beautiful song we listened to, traveling at this time of year, the cusp of September, when in August we put our psyche upon the waters of the unconscious to say, who are we? We want to be healed. And our healing is not the healing of some physical disease. We may be healed of one disease, but in the end, our physical is going to evaporate. It's going to pass away. It's going to be put into ashes that blow into the wind. Are we the physical? That's only a Band-Aid. What's eternal is what is everlasting inside our heart. And through the mythologies of the ancient mystery traditions, which were held in great respect by Socrates, by Plato, by the ancient philosophers who understood it, sought that ineffable experience that's available to you and I in our altered states of consciousness, in our dream. We go beyond what the eyes can see in waking reality. At night, we put our head upon the pillow. We fall asleep and our physical body begins to heal and tonify. At different hours of the night, different organs of the body are worked upon and healed. But dreams come and images rise, memories come. And if we are clever enough to work toward remembering these dreams, if we pay attention to them, we have our personal mythology. And our personal mythology comes in the images that speak to us from divinity, that tell us who we are, where we come from, and where we're going, and that we are eternal. We are only in the physical, experiencing the physical. And all of the sorrows and all of the trials around us are passing. It's the image when the priests in the monasteries were being brought out of Tibet to be shot down and murdered by the communist gods. They came with such great peace. They didn't object. They didn't fight. They didn't cry. They didn't scream. They didn't look up to heaven and say, please, I don't want to be killed. They knew that they weren't dying, that their bodies, which would eventually pass away, were just being hastened to join the eternal, to once again be part of the gold that alchemy sought, that union with the divine. And so at this time of year, as we put the craft upon the water in August, the first 9 days of September are devoted to the mysteries of the pilgrimage that follows, along with two great myths. And I will share those myths with you now. For the stories are on one level, but the meaning is in the depths. In the Eleusinian mysteries, the story, the mythology, was the myth of Persephone and Demeter, Mother Earth and her daughter, and the beauty of the earth that was in eternal springtime. Everything was in perfection, but the daughter was of great beauty, and the god of fire of the depths in Hades lusted after her, and asked the guide of the sky that she should become his bride. The earth opened up and Persephone fell into Hades, and she became his bride. And listening to the stories, one might assume that she rejected this, that she didn't want to be in Hades. And Demeter brought the world into permanent winter, and nothing grew. And the god of the sky had a conversation with the god of the depths. This was not going to do. If humanity was going to experience the physical, we needed to have the seasons. And so they struck up a deal. And Persephone spent 6 months of the year in Hades and 6 months of the year on the earth. And on a very ordinary waking reality view, we might look at the myth as saying it is the reason for the seasons. In autumn and in winter, Persephone is in the depths and everything dies, and the world seems to be devoid and in stillness and darkness. And in the spring, when she's allowed back up, everything grows. And we might leave it like that. But why would the ancient mysteries followed that, the Eleusinian mysteries, for 9 sacred days? Because there was something else that this myth was telling us. And it was telling us that it was about us, and it was about our journey in life. And without our going into the depths, without our incubating and pondering and giving the gestation to the child of creativity, there would be no blooming. There would be no seed to burst open in the earth for the cotyledon to be green, for the flower and the fruit to grow. It is within us that we need to go into the silence, and all of those pilgrims and initiates of the Eleusinian great mystery tradition, they put their vessel of the soul on the water. They walked the path of Persephone, going into the fires in the depths. Absolutely significant. The alchemical fire is the fire of transformation that you and I need. We need to stop looking at the physical waking world as it, as the only reality. And we need to go within to incubate like a mother in the womb, giving those months to the seed to develop and to grow. And the seed has to burst open for the next generation. When a seed is placed in the dark earth, that seed dies so the cotyledon grows, and the cotyledon dies so that the stem and the flowers grow, and the flowers will die so the fruit can grow. It's a message to each and every one of those ancient pilgrims who traveled asking, like Sir Isaac Newton, like Carl Jung, like Socrates, what is the principle of life? What is the meaning? It is a transformation that we all need to understand over and again. We need the darkness. We need being broken open, because only then will we see the truth. And there's another myth that expands on that truth. And it's about the god Dionysius and the Dionysius rituals given at that same time. Dionysius is the god of all of the joy that one has with the grapes off the vine. He brings the liquor to come in as a communion with himself. But what is his story? He is the child of the physical and the divine. His father is Zeus, the god of lightning in the heavens. His mother is Semele, a human born. And that child that grew within the mother was not born of the mother. For the mother was tricked into asking great Zeus to show his power. And meeting the power of the divine means being released from the sarcophagus of form. And so Semele was reduced to ashes in the great fire of seeing the eternal. But her child was taken from her. And the myth goes on to say the child was put into the thigh of the divine, born of the divine, only to be ripped apart into 7 pieces, with one part remaining, the heart. and that heart was taken by the divine, and the form of earth put around it. His name, Dionysius, means twice born. We need to be twice born. We are born of egg and sperm. We are born through the canal that leads to the birth of our physical body. But we are not born of that body. We are born through it as a vehicle. Our real birth is the birth when we understand our true origin from the waters of the divine, from those cosmic waters where we are born from in union and communion with the divine to experience all life. And life is a balance of good and bad. But if we only look at the physical, then we wallow in the sorrow and the grief because we don't understand that we are eternal. Our body is merely a vehicle. The second birth is the virgin birth that we all need to undergo. And that's the enlightenment. That's the alchemy of turning our bodies into the gold of understanding. And these myths that were used for the basic pilgrimage in the beginning of September, in the first 9 days, began with each and every one of us understanding that with the eyes that look externally at the world, we will see the grief, we will see the sorrow, and we will wallow in it unless we understand, like the monks who came out of their monastery and allowed their bodies to be destroyed, knowing that one could not destroy the essence of who they truly were, the soul and the spirit that was inside themselves. We are born of the cosmic waters of eternity, and we come to live in time and to carry whatever burdens and sorrows that we see, along with all joys, so that at the end of our life, when we put our head on the pillow for our final breath, we can say we fully lived. We saw the heights and the depths of life. But we wish for that light to come so that each and every one of us are remembered, like Dionysius, like the ancient god Osiris, who was dismembered. The myths are all about you and I being born of waters of forgetfulness. If we identify solely with the body, we are lost in the sorrows and we don't act with right conscience. And so now is the time of great healing for the entire planet, because if each and every individual is awakened to the light of the true nature of being, none will abuse one another. We won't need wars. We'll have human respect and honor and compassion for one another. Our devotion will be as custodians to the earth, which is our brother and our sister both, and to each and every one of us that spends so much time on Ancestry.com looking for the heritage of the skin and the flesh, as those who look at the mythologies as only what the surface of the story tells, but we go into the depths. And once we see and have our true healing, remembering the voice within to rise and join the waking voice so that we embody what's within us, giving us the ability to truly see beyond all of our sorrows. This is the healing that each and every one of us needs. This is the remembrance. And I'd like to end with the words of a great Sufi poet, Omar Khayyam from the Rabi Kayat, because he knew the truth. He said, I come with water and I go with the wind, for each is born of the cosmic waters. But in the vessel of the body, we will, in that alchemical alembic, like the flowers of the great jasmine, rise in the burning, like the vapors that rise to join with the sun. We will join with the gold. That's the gold of enlightenment, this path of the pilgrimage. We come from water, but we go with the wind. May each and every one of us have this true healing beyond the flesh, but of the consciousness, that we pay attention to the voice within and perhaps close our ears outside, except to give compassion and help and light upon the path. Blessings to each and every one of you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Janet Piedilato, for being with us today. Wonderful, wonderful sharing. We would now be coming, if we were in person in the church, to a time of announcements and donations. If you're so moved, you can click on that little box and it takes you to a donation place. Reverend Karen has set that up. Or if you're so moved, you could go to the website or send in a check. Anything is appreciated, great or small, deeply. Some of our announcements. Dr. Janet, do you have, I know, I think on Tuesdays and Fridays, do you have some events?
My Tuesdays, and especially now during September, my Tuesdays will be devoted to the ancient mystery traditions and our journey through the mythologies to help ourselves grow. That's Tuesday nights at 6 o'clock. And on Friday nights, I work with a waking dream for dream chats, helping each person with their personal mythology to connect with who they are. And that's 6 o'clock on a Tuesday night, and that's free.
Thank you. You can go to her website. Her name is typed correctly in her little box there, so you can navigate to her website as well. And in October and November, Dr. Janet will be sharing with us 3 classes on shamanism. So please look for those as well on our website. There are a couple courses coming up next weekend. Simone Key will be with us on Saturday with spiritual healing. Angie Morris from Arthur Findlay College will be with us on majestic color and symbolism. Chris Drew will be with us on the 11th, establishing the relationship. There's a full line of classes coming up. Lynn Probert, lovely Lynn Probert, has a 3-day class at the end of September. If you go under the events page on the Journey Within, the course is listed. We're still getting up the rest of the year. So parts October, November, December, latter parts are still being posted. So please know that's coming up. There are a couple of classes that are on hiatus. The Sunday evening student message service will resume the weekend after Labor Day. The Healers Gathering on Tuesday night resumes at the end of September. So there's a few classes that have been on hiatus that will be coming back. Reverend Anna, who took a break, there'll be a course beginning again the end of September on Monday nights. Monday nights already, there's a closed mediumship class. Tuesday nights, there's a beginners and then a beginners intermediate mediumship class. Wednesday night is our spiritual healing service with messages. Thursday night is a beginner's psychic development and intermediate psychic development class. So lots and lots happening. If you go again under the events page, please join us for all of that. Thank you to all the healers, to their service to the church. Thank you, Reverend Karen, for all of your hard work and tech work particularly, which is not my world at all, I have to say. So God bless you. And all the volunteers who serve us on all the classes. So many people are just techs. There isn't a class that runs that does not have a volunteer that's helping that class to run smoothly, and to all our guest tutors as well. If you're in need of someone to speak with, we have ministers available. If you call the church office or email us, Reverend Karen will get back to you. If you'd like to drop off food for Kumak and Patterson, you may do that. Please, no glass, nothing perishable. We had a members meeting. We have announced the church is closed till April 1st, at least. We'll reassess in February, March. It's just a way to keep us all safe. It's not a big space, as you know, but we'll come together in community like we have this morning with the 140 people that are here at the minute. We're so glad you join us. It really does make a difference that we can come together in this way. I'm not sure if I'm forgetting anything, but if someone could type it to me in the chat box, that'd be great. Usually I'm forgetting something, so but we're grateful that you're here with us. We'll be moving into our demonstration of mediumship. We always have a piece of music before we do that. So I'll be putting that on in a moment. When we come back from the piece of music as a demonstration of mediumship, which I'll be doing today, if it sounds like the spirit communicator belongs to you, which means you can take 95% of what I've said, please raise your little yellow blue hands. And a few people put those up to show us how that's done. It's usually along the bottom of your screen. Or under more could be there. But people are putting them up. If all else fails, please type to me in the chat box. So I'm not sure what's happening with the posts, but I'll look into that in the chat box. But I'm seeing all the healing requests, so but please type to me in the chat box, if I said before. Please don't stretch it too far. So if I bring forward a mother, it's not your father. We kind of stick to the details that we're bringing forward. It's just a way to bring, a time for incarnate spirit to have communication with those who have moved on to that discarnate spirit now residing somewhere else. So we'll just go into a piece of music before we move into the demonstration. Hope you enjoyed that piece of music. I'm just noticing in all your shares in the chat, so many of you are having really challenging times, and please know we come together as companions on the journey, that we all come in support of one another here, and are praying for you as well as we navigate life on life's terms in this planetary experience. So our thoughts and our prayers are with you as well. That song was by Justin Hayward, Children of Paradise. A few people are asking. So my first communicator is a father. He showed himself to me walking on his property. So this is not a city man unless he had a city house and then land in the country, because he's definitely shown me walking the countryside. And I think that piece of property was very important to him. He seemed to have severe respiratory distress at the end, possibly lung cancer, emphysema, but very, very tough time breathing, very, very sick man at the end of his life. But loving that land, I have to say. I don't know that the land is still here, or there's currently something happening that is moving on to, or the land had been sold. I'm conscious as well of the name of Robert or Bob, somewhere around it, not necessarily his name, but you should understand that name. So I'm going to give a wee bit more. There's a few hands up, so I need to bring this down. So please, unless you understand every piece of it, please don't keep your hands up. I can't believe there's many hands up, I have to say. This is definitely father, I have to say. So if it's grandfather, uncle, please remove your hands. It does feel like a father to me. And he had to have been gravely ill, I have to say, with cancer or emphysema. Let me say that as well. He does have a bit of a devilish fun side to him, because there's a glint to his eye that's catching my eye. So that's lovely. I know he had dogs, and I know he loves dogs. I know that in the family, so in your house or your family's house, there has to be handed down one of those old secretaries, because he's shown me someone still has furniture. So if you don't have the secretary, please lower your hand. It's very important to me that we narrow this down a bit more. He's also talking about, for whatever reason, doing woodwork himself. So I see him with the plane working on wood himself, and he took quite a bit of love of being away from the family doing this. I do need to say that there could have been a critical word from his mouth. So I do need to say that to you as well. So it's not that he was a saint, because he's not saying he was a saint. And he did smoke, I have to say. This cough, he says, was part of something he created. So I just do need to say that as well. I feel drawn to Sarah. So Sarah, can I unmute you, and can you tell me what you understand?
Yes, actually everything. Walking our family home property. He did that whenever he came back from his sales job. He had lung cancer. His name was Bob. He did have a glint to his eye. We had dogs all growing up, and he took care of my dog. He smoked for 30 years. There was a secretary from his mother that was given to me,
Perfect.
and he could be critical.
Perfect. So thank you, everybody else. I just felt throw out there. So I appreciate the other hands, but I feel confident where I am. So thank you with that. There's a gratitude to you. So I don't know if you've continued, Sarah, to take care of things for the family or, you know, like finalize some of his plans, but I do need to bring a gratitude to you. Would you understand that?
I would. I moved back to be of help to my mother, who he loves, obviously loved very much.
I just need to bring the gratitude to you, I have to say. And it's very important I bring to you from him. There seems to be seriousness or things that are pressing that you have to take care of. I don't know if that's your mother. You mentioned your mother. He just says, don't forget and all of that, like get out on the land, get out, you know, find the things that put a bit of a glint in your eye, to keep that bit of magic alive, I have to say, which is lovely from him. So I do need to say that. I don't know if you've just gotten new glasses or your mom's just got new glasses, but he's got a new set of glasses for some reason. So I don't know what that's for. And are there any Irish connections in your family?
Yes. My sister would go to Ireland every year for a W.B. Yeats conference, and my grandparents lived in Ireland.
Yeah, because there's definitely Irish brogue. I'm very cognitive of hearing here. So hello from that side of the family. Hopefully you get there yourself, because as Dr. Janet and I know, we love that country.
I do too.
It's magic, I have to say, truly magic. So if I can come forward with a big hug, I have to say, and a bit of an apology. I don't know that he felt he left some things which for other people to do, which he had wished he had taken care of himself. But there's a deep gratitude to you as well as an apology. So I just do need to bring that up. And he's just going to that purple thistle. I don't know what that plant is. He's either getting my attention to a pin that would be Irish or Scottish that's left behind, but there's that famous purple thistle plant. And I don't know if there's something you actually have, but he's just trying to grab my attention to something. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, we had a big field across from our house, and we would pick wildflowers to bring back to my mom. So there was thistle, the purple. I know exactly what you're talking about. That was
just taking the simple, beautiful aspects of this planet, that all of them are little treasures if you look at them that way. And it's so important to his heart, and I'm sure you feel his presence as well as your mom. But just a tremendous amount of love to you. So thank you for the contact.
Thank you for your skill, Janet. Thank you.
My pleasure, I have to say. My second communicator is a woman. She comes to me as a sister would, possibly a friend. I don't believe she made 50. I do know there's cancer conditions here. I know she's pretty, to me, it's like the cancer was the second blow to her. There had been either the loss of someone else in her family young, or a loss of a partner herself, breakup, whatever, but it seems she seems to use the word second blow. So under 50, dies of cancer, female, friend, sister, second blow she talks about. And I don't know if there might be lawyers, because she talks about something to do with justice. So I just have to say that term's being used, or the family filed the suit after the fact. But there's definitely something with justice she's talking about. Strong woman, I have to say, took a lot of to her courage to navigate the last days of her life, and she readily admits that. Let me just, so this is definitely sister or friend. So if it's not that, please don't keep your hand up. So it's not someone's mom. So I just got to be clear about that. So that got me more hands, I have to say. So, okay, Donna Marie, what would you understand?
All of it except the age. My sister-in-law just passed away on Thursday,
Oh, wow.
and it's really not a good situation. And she did lose her husband. And I mean, I'd say 95%.
I have to say, my heart responds to you. So thank you for the other hands, but I just know when I heard your voice, this feels right. And I would have no clue that this happened. So I'm so sorry, I have to say.
Thank you.
But a strong woman, I have to say, in her day. Would you understand that?
Yes, yep.
I just know though this term she used of second blow, for whatever reason, it was a second massive, for her, took her breath away. So I do say that. Part of what she's talking about, I don't know if she loved flowers, I have to say, but there's something again with this, like just tending to flowers, tend to the simple, beautiful thing. So as much as things may get difficult around in life, you just got to go back to the simple things. You got to pull yourself away from that a bit and let nature stabilize you. It's really important. She wants to share that as we talk about this for a reason. And please don't get pulled into the pull and pull of people against each other, I have to say. I have no idea what that's about, but do not engage, I have to say, for a reason, because I just need to say that to her. It's not worth the repercussions of things. I have no idea what that's about, but it's really important for me to bring that.
Okay.
I don't know if she liked a bit of lipstick, I have to say, but for whatever reason, I don't know if she really, from a strong, beautiful person, I think it took a lot from her at the end, but she just shows me herself so vibrantly. It's important for me to bring that up. She does want to be remembered to everyone. And I have no idea why, but she's bringing up that, I don't know how the poem goes. Little Miss Somebody sat on her tuffet. How does that go?
Little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet eating her curds and whey.
Yeah, I have no,
And sat down beside her and scared Miss Muffet away or
I
something
have
like that.
no idea why she's reciting that poem.
Maybe because I was just sucking up a bunch of spiders. Maybe she's here with me. I don't know.
It's possible. I'll just put it there. All I can say is, for whatever reason, my mind stimulated to bring that up. So if you literally were doing that, I have to say, she is there with you, I have to say, but she's there in all her glory. Do not see her in any diminished light, because diminished she is not, I have to say. So, and very strong, I have to say. So, but just for whatever reason, it's really important. Stay out of the barbed wire that people can cause. So I just really need to bring that across. So please know there's.
I know what you're talking about, and I'm staying out of it. It's got to do with Bethany and Noah. I'm staying out of it. So
Stay out of it. Stay in peace, I have to say.
it's just so hurtful. I mean, extremely hurtful.
I'm so sorry to hear that, but for whatever reason, don't get caught up in it as much as you
No,
can.
I won't.
It's really, really very important. So please take
Thank
the
you.
message that's there. God bless. Sorry
Thank
for your
you,
loss.
Janet. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Janet.
May I interrupt?
Hey, I'm sorry, I just saw your hand.
The disconnect, the lovely lady who passed, is obviously with us to give a myth, when today the whole speech that I gave was about mythology and the meaning. This is the perfect example. Little Miss Muffet sits on her tuffet and she's frightened by the spider. But the spider is a symbol, and the spider is a symbol of a center with the legs going around in a circle, like the great mandala of life, like the great Ouroboros that goes round and round. The spider is grandmother spider woman from the mythology of the Native Americans, telling us that there will be ordeals in life, but she is the one who creates the beauty of the web. And that web will bring us to other places. This discarnate is beautifully giving us the example that through the myth, She's saying what feels terrible, what feels frightening, what's bringing grief and what's bringing sorrow and struggle. That's not what this is about. Miss Muffet doesn't have to run away. She has to embrace that spider, because the spider is all about making that beautiful web of life. And the wind will blow it away and will blow each and every one of us. Like Omar Khayyam says, that's where the soul goes. She's giving such hope in the middle of sorrow by looking at the myths. Absolutely perfect, Janet, the perfect message from someone on the other side.
Thank you, Dr. Piedilato.
Yes, thank you. Our love is with you, Donna.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for that added piece.
I was trying to get your attention, but I didn't.
I was so connected to her. I was like, oh.
But, you know, it's I live in dream and myth. I mean, it's my life. And it's as though the universe made fun of me when I was born, to put me spending so much time in science, and yet my head in the clouds with the mythology. And it is in every one of us. And we miss it because, like that beautiful message, we miss it if we don't understand, if we don't look at the language. And the language of transcendence is the mythology, because it's live, it's open. When I speak to you and I say to you, let's go to the journey within, there's coordinates. It exists in a certain place and time. It has the latitude and longitude. If we know how to drive in the car, we get there. Now, the wind or storms, God forbid, could blow it away in time. But right now it exists. But when we deal with the messages from beyond, they're meant to expand, so that even tomorrow, that little Miss Muffet will mean even something else. It just grows and grows. But I could not have asked for something more perfect. I could not have asked. And I don't ever remember you, Janet, coming with all the messages I've heard, with giving a message like that with a myth that goes in it.
Oh, she definitely got
And a child's one. It's Saint Teresa, the little flower, who says, if we are not like little children, we will not enter the gates of heaven. And she's saying, listen to the myths, understand what the eyes don't see. You know, it's the little prince. That which is essential is invisible to the eye. But you just brought it through magnificently. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you, everyone, for being with us here this Sunday, a beautiful Sunday, I have to say. Thank you so much, Dr. Janet.
Thank you.
For all of you who came to be in community with us. We're deeply grateful that you're here with us this morning. So we'll be closing with song and prayer, and we'll be asking Dr. Janet to do the closing prayer for us.
I see we're late, so I'll have a short prayer in saying, beloved, divine, mother and father, both beyond all name and form, you are the origin and you are the destination of our soul, and you reside within us. We come in water, we go with wind. May each and every one of us see the light within us, that we may be a light to each other, helping each other cope through the darkness, knowing that our morning will turn into the light of gold, for each and every one of us are connected to divinity. Amen.
Amen. And we'll end with our closing song. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Blessings and prayers around the planet, particularly for Louisiana and Alabama today. Thank you, Dr. Janet. Wonderful service. So, many blessings. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye-bye.